Thanks. Thanks everybody for being here. My name is Eric Tang, and I'm the co-founder and CTO at Livepeer. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the opportunities in building Web3 video-based applications. I mean, what does that even mean? We haven't seen much video in Web3, but it's coming. A little bit about us. We're Livepeer. We've been building the video streaming infrastructure layer of Web3 since late 2016. So we've been at this for a while. So today I'm going to cover just a little bit brief history of internet video platforms in general, how they evolved over time, talk about some primitives in Web3 video, how that's different from the current status quo of video applications in general. We'll talk a little bit about the opportunities in Web3-based video, and finally, I'll share some high-level tips about our developer toolkit. Okay, brief history of internet video platforms. This is not complete and very brief. It kind of got kicked off back in 2005 when a small startup that was trying to build a dating app that's the video version of Hot or Not, that application was not working, and they needed to pivot. So they decided to shut off the dating feature and just allow users to upload videos. And at that time, YouTube was born. The application quickly took off. Within 18 months, became the 5th most popular website in the world. And within that time, became the fastest growing website the internet has ever seen. Some interesting facts about this platform. It was actually only independent for about 2 years. Think about that short amount of span. They raised about $11.5 million, spent most of that on infrastructure. Right before they were acquired, they were spending about $2 million a month on streaming infrastructure. And combined with a lot of different reasons, they were acquired by Google by 2006 for $1.65 billion. Subsequently, they started their rev share, which is the ad model, putting ads in people's users' videos in 2007 and sharing a % of the revenue to the users. And that's when this ad-driven attention economy was born. Another example, Twitch. Started back in 2007. It was called Justin.tv. It was a website for the founders to create a reality TV show where Justin put a webcam in his baseball cap and just walked around with it all day, filming every little detail about his life. The company struggled for about 4 years. They tried all different things, and they got into all kinds of legal troubles. They got sued by the U.S. government even. They had to go in front of Congress to testify for a lot of copyright issues. Because of that, the growth was very much tapered until 2011, when they realized a small subset of their audience who they thought was kind of a leash group that were streaming their video playing sessions on their site, and they decided nothing else is working. What the hell? Let's give it that a try. It quickly took off, and they spun out that project into its own company in 2011, and from there it started growing exponentially. Within 3 years, they were acquired by Amazon for $1 billion. At that time, coincidentally, it was the biggest acquisition that Amazon had ever done. It took 20% of their cash position, and they outbid Google, who was going to buy them and become kind of the live streaming portion of YouTube. Third example that I'm going to give, Netflix. Netflix, it was started as a DVD online rental business in 1997. They went IPO in 2002. Didn't launch their video streaming service until 2007, and it was largely inspired by the success of YouTube. Within a quick 3 years, their streaming business surpassed the DVD rental business, and now DVD is no longer around. They also started the streaming war, right? The amount of capital that they're investing into content creation is enormous. In 2021, they spent $13.6 billion creating original content on the Netflix platform, and they account for about 20% of all the internet's traffic combined. Right. So, quick lessons. What are some of the things that we've learned in the last 15, 17 years of video streaming, right? Well, video streaming is driven by creators. All of these platforms are just platforms that are putting video content on there. Whether they're spending money producing it or they're paying other people to produce it, at the end of the day, without these content, these platforms would not exist. They're now spending an astronomical amount of money to incentivize people to create content, but at the same time, these are giant businesses that are taking a large portion of that revenue. YouTube famously take about half of the ad spend that are on the platform, and give only half to the creators. And the whole transaction is very not transparent, right? You need to be above a certain amount of viewership to even be considered to be in that group. And as we all know, the long tail of the internet is where most of the stuff happens. So for a large portion of the viewership, they're not paying the creators at all. Second thing is, well, video is now everywhere, right? Video is in entertainment, it's in education, e-commerce, personal and business communication. It accounts for 80% of all the traffic on the internet. So that's pretty incredible. We can't make our way around the internet without video today. And the third thing, which I think is really, really relevant to this audience, is that video is highly centralized. It's governed by these few platforms that have an outsized power in this power dynamic, right? There's about 46 million, about 50 million creators around the world. Out of that 50 million, over 90% of the people are actually using these top few platforms to create video and to make a living off of that, right? And as this audience start to discover this unfairness in the game, they're starting to move to Web3, and this is the opportunity for Web3, right? We're starting to see video-based use cases emerge in the Web3 space that are built as decentralized applications built on top of decentralized infrastructures. So let's look at some of the primitives, like what are new in Web3 video that's interesting and unique. Right? The first thing I want to touch on is NFTs, specifically video-based NFTs. Right? Today, the content format of NFTs are overall kind of image-based, but as we see the evolution of the internet, we started with text, went to image, quickly went to video, and now video is the dominant form factor of the internet. It's going to happen again in NFTs. Some of the interesting things about NFTs is that it introduces digital ownership of video to the creators, right? So now, instead of uploading your video into a third-party platform, which is owned by that platform, the creators now own that content. Doesn't matter where they upload it. It gets stored in decentralized storage, and their key is the owner of that piece of content, and that's written on the blockchain, and no one can change that. So that enables all kind of secondary effects. For example, trading on e-commerce, being able to track royalties that are perpetual across the life cycle of the asset itself. It also creates this interesting dynamic where essentially the database becomes open, right? Currently, YouTube, Twitch, all these platforms put on arbitrary barriers to compete with e-commerce. For example, Twitch has an exclusive clause that says if you want to make money on Twitch, you need to exclusively stream your content on Twitch. You cannot stream on any other website. These types of dynamics are very hostile to users and to viewers of those platforms. And in Web3, that completely gets flipped around, right? The content is open by default, and all kinds of applications can be built on the same content for different experiences and different use cases. And that's a huge, interesting design space that people are exploring today. Second piece I want to touch on is combining smart contracts with video streaming, right? Essentially allowing smart contracts to have logic that control the video streaming experience. we're starting to see decentralized video applications to come up. Some of the early signs are we're starting to see token-gated video libraries or token-gated live streams, right? So these are basically video assets that give viewers access based on their token ownership. I can buy an NFT, and by owning that NFT, I get access to a video library. These can be really powerful tools that application developers can use. Another interesting thing that we're seeing is decentralized video production, right? So right now, for example, Netflix controls the power because they control the budget. They're investing $13 billion last year into the content creation, and not a lot of other groups have that budget. But if you look at how the content is actually created, we know that Hollywood is just a giant community of freelancers. No one is working full-time for Netflix in creating these shows. These are creators that are independent. They're creating this content and then they're pitching to Netflix. Well, just the same way, they can now pitch to decentralized autonomous organizations and to these Web3 native communities and have a different way to have liquidity. And combining this with DeFi, you have a new incentive structure for content creation. And we're starting to see this happen, decentralized production houses. And finally, we have the Metaverse, which is also another important building block and primitive in the Web3 narrative today. Right? It represents our increased virtual lives that we all live in. Our experiences are moving more and more into the virtual world, and sometimes it's actual metaverse where you have avatars that you walk within. Sometimes they're more conceptual. They're games. They're different fragmented experiences, right? But video streaming provides an important element to create a richer, a more dynamic content type for all the participants in these metaverses. We'll get into some examples later. Getting into the opportunities a little more, right? For the creator economy, we have NFT commerce. That's the dominant use case today. We're starting to see video-based NFT platforms to come up. We're starting to see NFTs starting to become video-based, and those are very, very interesting. We're starting to see creator communities and tools for creators to be built around video. Especially the fact that a lot of these creators are actually video creators. Instead of going to YouTube and uploading their video into YouTube and have YouTube own your content and your audience, creators are starting to use Web3 tools where they can utilize that, launch their own token, launch their own NFTs, and build their own community, and take their fans with them to a different platform if the platform is not serving them. We're starting to see Web3 powered fandom, right? This is on another level where celebrities and sports teams are starting to get into Web3. Interesting thing, well, just like smaller creators don't really like decentralized platforms, sports franchises, celebrities also don't like these platforms because they think it's unfair, right? It doesn't matter if you are, Shaq. You're Shaq. You're still, playing for the NBA. Your content is still being controlled in these platforms, right? So we're starting to see, for example, Shaq recently did an NFT sale, and he donated all the NFT proceeds to the foundation the nonprofit foundation he started. We're starting to see video-based NFTs being really popular, like NBA Top Shots. Quentin Tarantino recently did an NFT drop for unreleased scenes in Pulp Fiction. Going down to another category, decentralized social platforms are starting to emerge. Right, some of these social platforms are video by nature. Right, so think of them as decentralized Twitches or decentralized YouTubes, but with the ability for the creators to own their actual content. Some of them are primarily text-based, but in the transition going into video. So Discover is a good example of a decentralized Reddit, but adding video streaming into that platform. And as we know, as social platforms evolve over time, the dominant content format on those social platforms are almost always video content, because those are just long engagement cycles and high engagement rates. Right? What we're seeing in Metaverse, we're seeing people doing all kinds of really interesting things. We're seeing celebrities today that are virtual characters, right? That are not real people, and they're kind of produced, and they have virtual concerts in the real world where these virtual celebrities are performing. We're seeing real world celebrities streaming their concert into the Metaverse, right? So in the middle, we see Steve Aoki doing a show in the Metaverse. We're seeing lures and video content being created around Metaverse NFTs. So for example, the Stoner Cats animation series, and all kinds of other use cases. We see weddings in the Metaverse that are also being streamed. Right. I'm going to give a quick demo of the Livepeer Developer Toolkit to show you all what can be built today with these developer platforms. We actually have created a new product, a new API, just for the hackers for this weekend. So I just press play. So what we're seeing here is a video NFT creation toolkit. It takes 2 steps to create a video NFT. The first thing is I go to the Livepeer hosted gateway. I copy my API key. The second thing is I'm going to pick a video that I want to create an NFT for. This is my dog playing in the snow, having a good time. And so after that, I'll simply we created a script to make it as easy as possible. It'll do a few things. It'll upload your video content into the Livepeer network. It'll use the network to transcode the video to make it optimized for video streaming and delivery in all kinds of different content formats or devices, optimized for video streaming on the internet. And finally, it's going to export that video to a decentralized storage. So what we see here is the IPFS gateway for all the metadata that's packaged well and ready to be sent to the blockchain to mint the NFT. So I just copy that URL, and then I mint the NFT. And here we issue a transaction into the Ethereum blockchain. And after the block is confirmed, we will have a video NFT. So really 2 steps. And now we have that transaction hash back. We can go to the OpenSea testnet version and see the video NFT right there. That's the cover art, and all of these things can be customized. Yeah, and so we'll if you have more questions, you can come to our booth or come talk to at our Discord. We also have a live streaming toolkit. This has been around for a while. You can build a live streaming application within 15 minutes. We recently open sourced a really powerful media server that we've been building for a long time. This media server allows anybody to build a really scalable video streaming infrastructure and service that can serve other applications. And you can build that with a really low cost because this tool is kind of integrated into the Livepeer network. So you get to run very thin clients of open source software, but also get to tap into this decentralized network that already exists today. We have another tool that allows you to stream video directly from the browser. So if your users don't want to download a broadcasting client, this is a really useful tool. And finally, we have many demo apps, so developers can kind of start from, don't need to start from scratch. They can clone the application and go from there. For the hackathon this week, we have a bunch of prizes that total up to $15,000. I highly recommend checking them out. Yeah, come and find us and tell us about your hack ideas. And finally, we're hiring. If you're interested in working on Web3 video with us, we're hiring across engineering, marketing, DevRels. Go check out livepeer.com/jobs. Thank you.